Hey there, Red here, welcoming all you lovely listeners to Red Hunt, where we dive deep into the thrilling, heartwarming, and occasionally bizarre relationship stories from the depths of Reddit. So grab your favorite snack, sit back, and let's embark on this roller coaster journey together. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join the hunt. Am I the antagonist for refusing to go on family vacation and ruining it for everyone else? Every year, the first week of the year, my mother-in-law and father-in-law take their children, and now their own families, on a vacation. This tradition began because they both have children from previous marriages, and it became too difficult and chaotic to coordinate Christmas celebrations with the other parents. So instead, they started going on vacations during that time and would celebrate Christmas there. They always choose a destination where skiing and/or snowboarding are available. Personally, I don't know how to ski or snowboard, but it has never been a big deal for me. I would usually go tubing or relax at the spa while they enjoyed their activities. In 2022, I couldn't go tubing because I was pregnant, but I had a 1-year-old, so I would play with him in the snow, walk around, or spend time in our room. Last year, I had 3 kids, my 2-year-old and 2 7-month-olds, and I was essentially stuck in a room that was not baby-proofed for the entire week. It wasn't an enjoyable experience, but I went along with it for the sake of their tradition and for my kids to spend time with their grandparents. This year, I was also pregnant again with triplets. I told my husband that I prefer not to go on the vacation this year because I don't want to be far from the hospital in case anything happens. And I simply don't have the energy to take care of 3 toddlers in an environment that is not baby-proofed. Since I would only be watching the kids, I'd rather do it at our own home where I feel comfortable. My husband understood and asked if it would be all right for him to go alone. I told him that I would prefer if he didn't go for the entire duration of the vacation because we will need time off when the babies arrive, but otherwise, I didn't mind. So he informed his mom, and although she wasn't thrilled, she eventually dropped the issue. When my husband arrived at the vacation, his mom apparently became upset, started crying, and locked herself in her room. Phil explained that she had expected the kids to come because now it doesn't feel like a family vacation anymore. She remained sad for the rest of the trip. My husband just wanted to enjoy some quality time with his family, and if he had brought the kids, he would have been cooped up in a hotel room with them instead of spending time with the rest of the family. Then, all the attention turned towards me. They questioned why I couldn't come and watch the kids, stating that I wasn't too far along with my pregnancy, 22 weeks, and since I already take care of the kids at home, I could do it there as well. My husband defended me, or at least he claims he did, but the comments continued sporadically throughout the week. We mostly chose to ignore these comments, and after the vacation, they didn't bring it up again. However, they recently asked if we could come down for my husband's brother's surprise party at the end of February. It was an easy decision to decline since I will be 29 weeks pregnant with triplets by that time. When my husband conveyed this to his mom, it seems like the floodgates of grievances opened. They brought up every possible slight that they felt I had committed against them, with the main focus being on me skipping the vacation and ruining it because it was supposed to be a family vacation, and that was the whole point. They accused me of purposefully keeping my husband away from them. While it is true that I could have watched the kids in the hotel room, I'm now questioning if I am the one who is being unreasonable. Not the antagonist. It's completely understandable that you didn't want to go on the vacation this year due to being pregnant with triplets and not having the energy to keep up with 3 toddlers in a non-baby-proof room. It's important to prioritize your health and the well-being of your unborn babies. You shouldn't be made to feel guilty for making a reasonable decision. If this was you, would you be able to forgive something like this? I want to start by saying that I never thought I would even question or have such a hard time with this, but it comes to this day. We've been dating for almost 5 years this February. Throughout the relationship, I had been very trusting with him. I never doubted him, and never in my life would I even think that he would cheat on me. That might be naive or dumb, but he never gave me a reason to, therefore I trusted him. He recently started a new job, and his phone died one night. He was late for work, and then recently it happened again. His phone died and I couldn't reach him. I was worried that he would miss work again, so I tried calling him throughout the night and the morning. I woke up quite early, and since he started at 7 a.m. and I woke up at 6 a.m., I thought that it might be a nice gesture for me to stop by to make sure he is okay and is up and ready to work. Or better, he already left and everything was fine. I went over to his place and saw that he was still home. So as soon as I went to him, I saw a set of keys and a woman's bag on the living room table. As I approached the room, I saw that there was a woman in there. He continuously tried to keep me away from the door and told me that it was not what it looked like, etc. I saw her lying on the bed. He claimed that she was never in here, and only him and his friend slept in the room, who have left early that morning. He said that he asked her to sit and wait, that I am here and it might end badly and he needs to talk to me. But lying on the bed? You have to be so comfortable to even do that. Things escalated, yelling, throwing, etc. She left the place, and he explained to me what happened. He explains to me what happened, that they met last night and she helped him with something, bought drinks and wanted to have a drink. So he said that he would have a drink with her to show appreciation at our place. We don't stay together, but in our place in the sense that I am there 6 days out of the week and buy things for it, etc. He claimed that he told her he has a girlfriend and talked about me all night. Then his friend came and they all chilled. She got super wasted and he let her sleep on the couch. He claimed that nothing sexual or romantic happened and that it was just a drink. My thing is, at first glance, for me, it was done and over. The one thing we promised in this relationship is that anything we can get through, but anything involving another male or female in any way, is off the table. I thought that I was set on it and would remain strong, but after a few days it has honestly been hard with him. He keeps trying to fix things and promises that nothing has happened. I truly do love him so much, and it's been 5 years that I had committed into this relationship. If this was you, would you be able to forgive something like this? That's a tough situation. It's understandable that you would be hurt and confused by what happened. Ultimately, whether or not you can forgive him is a personal decision, and only you can truly know what's best for you and your relationship. Am I the antagonist for telling my mom and her husband that I cook for dad and his family, but not them because I actually like my dad? My parents had a one-night stand and I'm the result of that. The relationship with my mom has always been strained because she resents my dad for not being with her after they made me, something she has voiced on and off for my whole life. Even when I, 16 was like 5, I remember her ranting about how selfish my dad was for that. She engaged in parental alienation a lot over the years, but the courts never did anything, and my dad did try to fight against it in court. When I was 7, my mom got with her husband Greg, and they have kids together. Greg is a jerk and an even bigger jerk than my mom, which I wasn't sure was possible for a while, but you know. He has talked about my dad being really feminine and how he's worried dad will turn me gay. He and mom tried to sue for custody of me, stating they could give me a 2-parent home, and Greg even tried to argue that he was a better dad to me than my dad was. They lost this battle, of course, but that was the kind of nonsense they do. Greg would get angry when I told him he wasn't my dad, and I wasn't going to call him dad or pops. He said I should be calling him that, and I should want to be his son, since he's such a man and he's with my mom. My dad was the parent I could vent to and never hear a bad word said about mom or Greg. He would never shame me for what I said. He wouldn't push his opinion on me. He would just listen, and he would encourage me to write about it if I needed to. He tried to put me in therapy when I was 8, but my mom blocked it and the courts were like, just leave it be since he's doing fine in school. Dad bought me a journal to help me write stuff out and it helped. Greg found it in my bag one day and acted like my dad had dressed me in inappropriate clothing or something. He was so disrespectful about a journal being for girls and not something you give to a son. So I don't like mom or Greg, and I really don't spend any time with their kids, also known as my half-siblings. I know the kids aren't to blame, but I try spending as little time in that house as I can. My dad taught me a lot of life skills and cooking is one of them. I also know how to sew up holes in clothes and stuff and do general do-it-yourself stuff. I'm actually a pretty good cook, and sometimes I cook for dad or our extended family. Though usually it's with dad's help when others are over because he says I'm a kid and shouldn't have to do it all. A few weeks ago, Greg decided to stalk my dad's Instagram and saw posts dad made about food I cooked for us. Greg told my mom and they were all kinds of angry that I never cook at their house and I have never ever helped them with dinner or fed anyone there. They told me I should be doing that stuff for them too, and I said no. They wanted one good reason why, and I told them I would never cook for people I dislike, and that's them. Mom went on about how that's dad's fault, and Greg was yelling that I was disrespecting him in his own home. I told him to let me go home then, and they were like, no. Am I the asshole? It's your choice who you cook for, especially if you don't feel comfortable around your mom and Greg. They shouldn't expect you to do things for them when they've shown disrespect towards you and your dad. Am I the antagonist for not taking any responsibility for the reaction my sister got when reaching out to our birth family? My sister, who's 29 years old, and I, who am 26 years old, are both adopted from the same birth family. We were adopted as infants, and our birth parents asked our adoptive parents if they would adopt me as well, since they had already adopted my sister. Our parents agreed, and as a result, my sister and I were raised together in the same family. Despite having a happy life, there was one significant difference between us. My sister always had a strong desire to meet and learn about our biological family, whereas I never had that inclination. I don't view them as my real family or parents. For me, my family consists of the people I love, and the family I grew up with. I never had the same curiosity or desire as my sister to search for our biological family in the future. Our parents knew their names and shared that information with us, but I had no interest in reaching out to them alongside my sister, despite her asking me to. My sister took the initiative to search for our birth family and even reached out to various relatives. After months of no response, our birth father and one of our birth aunts finally asked her if it was just the two of us searching or if it was primarily her. She replied that it was her, and once again, there was no response for several months. Eventually, everyone she reached out to replied, stating that they were uninterested and did not wish to be contacted further. My sister then attempted to contact the few relatives she hadn't reached out to initially, but received the same negative response. After taking some time to process it all, my sister began blaming me for the rejection. She believed that the fact that our birth family inquired about me indicated that they wanted both of us, and that they were possibly apprehensive about splitting us up, leading to their rejection of only her. She questioned how I could feel so indifferent towards the people who brought us into this world and the blood ties we have out there. In response, I shared that I didn't hold a deep emotional connection to this aspect of our lives. I explained that my focus was on being a good father and partner, rather than seeking out strangers and attempting to reconnect with them. I emphasized that our parents and my sister were my family, as well as my girlfriend and son and our extended family. I reassured her that I didn't feel the need for anyone else, or have a desire to connect with unknown individuals. She insisted that I should accept some responsibility, but I countered that it wasn't my obligation to do so. I also mentioned that our birth family might have had other reasons for their response, and asking about me could have been for various purposes. She expressed her belief that if we had both reached out together, we might have received a different response, and this idea continues to trouble her. Currently, our relationship is strained, and she seems to be experiencing more emotional distress due to my perceived lack of responsibility. Although I have many thoughts regarding the rejection, none involve me accepting blame. However, I do feel remorseful about my sister's pain, and that's why I'm asking if I'm the one in the wrong. It's understandable that your sister is feeling hurt and rejected, but it's not fair for her to place the blame solely on you. You made it clear that meeting your birth family was not something you were interested in, and it's not your responsibility to give her the answers she's looking for. It's important for both of you to respect each other's feelings and choices in this matter. Am I the antagonist for taking my dad's side over my sister in her wedding drama? My 28-year-old sister, Katie, recently got engaged to her partner of 7 years. They haven't set a date yet, but they are planning for a wedding around fall 2024 or spring-summer 25. Our mother passed away 6 years ago after years of health problems. Considering the length of her illness, I believe our dad started grieving before she passed away. This might explain why he was able to move on quickly and marry his current wife, Andrea, just 2 years after my mom's death. At first, it was strange for me to see our dad with someone else, but Andrea is genuinely cool and I have never seen him so happy. Even before my mom got sick, I don't think they had the same chemistry as he does with Andrea. He is always smiling when she's around. It took me some time to accept Andrea as a part of our family, but now she's an integral part of it. I'm grateful that she's embraced the role of a real grandmother to my 2 kids, even though she's only related to them through marriage. Katie, on the other hand, has never been able to accept our dad moving on. To this day, she refuses to acknowledge Andrea as a part of our family. While she doesn't directly say rude things to her, she is cold and often displays a catty attitude towards her. Now, with Katie being engaged and starting wedding planning, our dad, who is well off, has always said he would pay for our weddings. He covered most of my expenses and was willing to do the same for Katie's wedding. However, Katie stated that she won't allow Andrea at her wedding because she believes it would be an insult to our mom. As a result, our dad has withdrawn his offer to pay for the wedding or attend unless his wife is invited. Personally, I find our dad's stance completely reasonable. Andrea has never done anything wrong or bad to us. This isn't a case of an evil stepmother, it's simply an adult who is unwilling to let her father move on. Katie and her husband asked me to be a groomsman, with my son as the ring bearer and my daughter as the flower girl. Initially, I agreed, but now, with all this drama, I don't want to be a part of it anymore. I feel like supporting Katie's unnecessary meanness towards Andrea, who has become family to me, would be enabling her behavior. I've received mixed feedback from my friend group regarding this decision, so I'm curious to hear from outsiders who aren't familiar with the people involved. It sounds like a really tough situation to be in. It's understandable that you don't want to take part in a wedding where unnecessary drama is unfolding, especially when your dad's wife is just trying to be part of the family. Ultimately, it's your decision, and you have to do what feels right for you. Am I the antagonist for telling my sister she shouldn't brag on social media and then tag her kids and stepkids? Recently, my sister experienced embarrassment after a Facebook page she follows discussed the challenges of blending a family. The page highlighted how these challenges differ depending on the circumstances, such as divorced or widowed parents, or individuals who have been raising children alone without contact from the other parent. In response, my sister made a lengthy comment expressing her belief that these challenges were not as difficult as others claimed, even when children had lost a parent to death. She boasted about her own experience, stating that she and her current husband were both widowed with children when they met, and were able to create a blended family without divisions. According to her, the children had 2 parents and considered the step-parent to be just another parent, without using terms like step or half for siblings. She emphasized the importance of love and connection, rather than blood ties. Additionally, she asserted that her kids would not change anything about their lives, attributing their happiness to her and her husband's parenting skills. In her comment, she tagged her kids and stepkids. All the kids, including the ones she shares with her current husband, responded, clearly expressing their disagreement with her viewpoint. The children who had lost a parent were particularly adamant that the step-parent was not a replacement for their biological parent, and that the two were not the same. They also emphasized that they would change things if it meant having their deceased parent back. Furthermore, they found it frustrating that people expected them to maintain the same family structure they had before losing their parent, or to seek that structure with someone else. Each child expressed these sentiments in their own way. My sister faced backlash online, leading her to avoid opening Facebook since then. She and the kids had numerous arguments about this matter, and she came to me complaining about their actions. She felt they had made a fool out of her. I advised her that she should never have bragged in her post, especially not while tagging all the kids. I pointed out that she never heard the kids express those thoughts, so it was inappropriate for her to speak on their behalf. She argued that she believed they were completely on board and that it didn't need to be said aloud after so long. She also told me that she didn't need my judgment or advice, asserting that as her sister I should just listen. Am I the asshole here? It seems like your sister was trying to downplay the struggles of blended families based on her own personal experience, but she failed to consider the feelings and perspectives of her own children and stepchildren. It's important to listen to the voices of those directly involved and not make assumptions about their experiences. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.